Channel 5, WMAQ-TV, Chicago. Now, live from the NBC Tower, this is the Channel 5 News at
10. Welcome to Cheers.
Tonight, as millions of Americans watch the final episode of Cheers, Chicago investigators were spending their time puzzling over a sixth day of suspicious garage fires. Meanwhile, a new plan to end the war in Bosnia is taking shape. Still, people here in Chicago and around the country forgot, at least for a while, about those issues, and for tonight glued themselves to their sets, becoming part, perhaps, of one of the biggest television audiences in the history of this medium.
Is it the end of an era? Well, maybe that's too big. It's certainly the end of a television show, and it's the beginning of a star-studded party. Tonight we'll take you live to Boston's Bull and Finch bar and the cast party for the Cheers crowd, and we'll look around Chicago to see what this crazy phenomenon called Cheers was all about. First, outside that now famous Boston pub, the last call tonight turned into a spontaneous outburst of song. The final cheers for Cheers, an emotional farewell from fans of the long-running NBC sitcom. Several of the cast members waved from windows as they watched the final episode. Cheers fans know the bar has a 2 a.m. closing time, but in Boston, that won't hold up tonight.
All over the Chicago area, Norm and Cliff filled television screens tonight. Channel 5's Kevin McCarty is live at the Cheers party in Schaumburg. Kevin?
If you get it quiet in here, the question going on tonight is, what do we do on Thursday nights from now on? Well, you can do what I've done. I've got a Cliff lookalike and a Norm lookalike with me, but maybe that's not enough for you. You know, these people are pretty happy about all the partying tonight, but for a lot of people tonight, the last episode of Cheers was like a last visit with good friends and good times.
Watching the last episode of Cheers was met with some sadness by fans, especially here at Cheers 2 in Warrenville, where they've been gathering to watch the show every Thursday night.
Since this place has been open 4 years.
What are you going to do now that Cheers is gone? What are you going to do on a Thursday night?
Play golf. it's something, fishing or whatever. But something else, huh? Yeah, what? Reruns.
Well, Nami, what are we going to do tonight after
What people love the most about Cheers are the characters. Now, not everybody goes out and dresses up like them, but everybody seems to have a favorite.
Coach. Coach is my favorite character. Well, he seemed pretty goofy.
Sam. He's just funny. He's always trying out to try to get the women.
Woody. It's amazing how someone can be that stupid.
I think I'm most like Norm.
Why?
I like beer.
There were a lot of people watching this last episode. Well, business was down at this Fredder's appliance store.
It'll decrease a little bit the business because everybody stays home to watch the show. I would.
And for some, the last call was just a good excuse to have a party.
It's a sad thing. Cheers has been a highlight of the week, you know, for a long time.
Well, now the people here are pretty happy, as you can tell, about all this, but there's still, what are we going to do? Now, Cliff, what are we going to do on Thursday nights now?
Yeah, we're going to party at Cheers from now on. Then we're going to move over to Village Tavern. That's the new place, Schaumburg's Village Tavern.
Well, there's always L.A. Law. Reporting live from the Village Tavern in Schaumburg, Kevin McCarty, Channel 5 News.
Kevin, thank you. Earlier tonight, the cast of Cheers got their share of cheers from the governor and the legislature of Massachusetts. Norm Peterson, George Wendt. They were welcomed one by one up a red carpet, then listened as Governor William Weld gave a formal farewell speech.
This is a bittersweet day for those of us on Beacon Street. We regret that after tonight we will not see Sam welcome another patron to his bar. We will not see Carla insult another customer or co-worker. Norm's not going to be able any longer to run up his tab, and Cliff will not bore us with another piece of trivia.
The governor also predicted a boom in tourism thanks to the Boston bar that inspired the series.
What is the secret of all of this? As Channel 5's Phil Walters tells us, part of it at least is the setting, a bar where anything can happen and anybody can walk through the door.
The secret of barroom comedy, according to the experts. writers can bring in all kinds of characters who might not fit as well in a home or office setting.
The appeal of Cheers, and let's go right to the basics, is the writing. The comedy is terrific. The guys who write it are very, very good at what they do.
Yeah, just a sec. Is there an Udi Pantuso here?
That's you, Coach.
Speaking.
I think they always shot pretty high with the writing and didn't assume that the audience, wouldn't get something.
What'll it be, Nomi?
It's the usual, Coach. Have a drop of beer and a snorkel.
It's not a laughing matter.
Never was to the Women's Christian Temperance Union, but the disciples of founder Francis Willard now see more and more people finding bars less and less funny. And even the creators of Cheers doubt whether Cheers could be created today.
There might be more resistance to a show taking place in a bar. And I also think the central character of Sam Malone being a womanizer is kind of a passé character now.
There have not been that many women. That gets exaggerated here in the bar. There haven't been that many, really.
How many have there been?
Oh, I don't know, maybe 400.
Another thing that's important about bars in American culture is that they are heavily masculine. It's not just that they're gathering places, and it's not just that they're about drinking alcohol. And so they're a place that essentially you might say that the cult of masculinity is maintained and preserved.
Good night, ladies. We're going to leave you now.
Can I just have my check?
Are you a man?
Sure.
So, with Cheers' last call, we may be in for a long dry spell on TV.
Get that Chianti bottle and put a candle in it. Come on.
Stud's Place in Chicago, 1950. Restaurants and taverns may have made for good TV over the years, but Stud's now thinks TV makes for bad bars.
Now the television set is on, and even though you don't even watch the TV, you watch it, it has a deadening and narcotic effect. I think so it deadens conversation too, or diminishes it.
Let's switch now live to Phil Walters, who's outside Boston's Bull Finch pub, where the Cheers hoopla is still going strong. Phil?
Well, it's over now for real, and they're getting ready to start the Tonight Show, which will start shortly. This is one of the strangest parties I've ever attended, but also one of the loveliest. Strange because out here on Beacon Street, thousands of people have been sitting in the cool, damp night watching TV. Thousands more who couldn't see the monitors, just listen. And then during a commercial, the people on TV stuck their heads out of a window. And then they went back inside and reappeared on TV. But there's a gentle, friendly feel out here, too. All these people who have spent so many years watching in small groups or in families or at home or at their neighborhood tavern, all coming together to share it, just the way perhaps the writers might have written it for Cheers. A very nice ending indeed. By the way, the last great famous party in Boston, the Tea Party, was in 1773, and those of you who noticed the error, thank you for listening and watching so closely. And they're leaning out of the window again, and the cheers have begun. The party's going to go on for at least another couple of hours. Back to you in Chicago.
Thanks, Phil. And yes, Phil had the date of the Tea Party wrong earlier tonight. The last episode is now TV history. How will its audience stack up against the biggest ever? That's coming up a little later. Plus a kind of twist on the recap with our own Mark Giangreco.
But first, in other news, who killed David Koresh? We'll tell you why the new theory rules out suicide.
And find out why some want to link a presidential haircut to the White House travel office scandal.
Also, are the Bulls a step closer to signing Europe's best player? All of that is still ahead on the Channel 5 News at 10.
The Channel 5 News is brought to you in part by Diners Club.
In the glamorous world of business travel, after you miss the flight, change hotels, move meetings, then end up wandering around in a parking lot, what's in it for you?
The miles.
Only one card lets you earn frequent flyer miles on every major U.S. airline. Not these, the Diners Club card. Only Diners Club.
We have so much, these little things
like each new day and what it brings.
With HMO Illinois, a Blue Cross HMO, you have all the benefits you'll ever need and a choice of more doctors in more places than any other plan.
We have each other, we have it all.
When you have Blue Cross, you have it all.
The Channel 5 News is brought to you in part by Carson Peary Scott.
Announcing a sale so big, you'll wonder how we managed to pull it off. Carson's 12-hour sale this Saturday. Stores open at 9 a.m. At Carson's, you've come to the right place.
Tonight, Chicago police say they have a juvenile in custody who will soon be charged in connection with last night's deadly arson fire. Investigators say 2-year-old Denzel Castle died when the fire broke out in the rear of the house next door, then spread to his. Police believe the arson was gang-related and aimed at someone at the other house. Denzel died despite efforts of his mother and cousin.
The smoke was too thick and I couldn't get him. Then she went in and tried to get him. She couldn't get him. Then we just had to come on over because it was a big explosion then.
Neighbors say gang members often threaten to torch homes when they don't get their way.
Police now say they don't think gang activity is the cause of a string of garage arsons on the southwest side. Whatever the cause, residents are banding together to take back the neighborhood. We get that story now from Channel 5's Derek Blakely.
You're frightened. You're frightened that you're going to come home one day and you're going to find everything you actually worked for gone.
Once they start that, the buildings are going to catch on fire and be out of control.
Fear and anger. Those two emotions brought Southwest Siders together tonight, searching for solutions to a series of apparent garage arsons.
In my opinion, and after looking at all the facts and the locations involved, I do not find any gang relationship to these arsons.
That's what police say, but others are skeptical.
If they know it's not gang-related, then they must know why and who did it and what happened to it.
Police arrested 2 men for burning 4 garages this weekend. Their motivation?
The people that were arrested was personal gratification. They
enjoy it?
They were. It's a sickness, yes.
Problem is, the arrests haven't stopped the rash of fires. On Monday, 13 more Southwest Side garages burned, along with 4 others on the Northwest Side. Yesterday, another 4 damaged or destroyed on the Southwest Side. And today, 3 more, this time on the West Side. One fire so hot, telephone wires melted, as did the vinyl siding on an adjacent apartment building.
Like, why me, all people? Why my garage? I guess a lot of people saying the same thing, why my garage?
Derek Blakely, Channel 5 News.
Police also say there's no sign the fires were racially motivated, a concern that was voiced by some in this racially mixed neighborhood.
A new theory tonight on how Branch Davidian cult leader David Koresh died at his Waco compound as it burned around him. A story in the Houston Chronicle indicates it might have been a murder-suicide. The newspaper quotes forensic experts who believe Koresh was killed by one of his lieutenants, Stephen Schneider, who then turned the gun on himself. Experts say both Koresh and Schneider were in the compound's communications room when the fire broke out that eventually consumed the compound's buildings.
What some believed were anti-gay posters plastered all over a Chicago neighborhood. Next, why authorities are saying now it was all a big misunderstanding.
Also, some hopeful signs about a strategy to slow the war in Bosnia. Tonight, what the U.S. and Russia are saying.
They were a couple of teenagers who had a strange, secret romance. She loved him with all her might. He wanted the relationship kept secret. And when their affair came to an end, it ended in tragedy.
You realize what you've done? You have any idea what you've done to us? What you've done to her? She loved you. She talked about you all the time.
Too Young to Love on the next Hard Copy.
Hard Copy, Friday at 4 on Channel 5.
Summertime's the right time to save on Ford trucks, the best-built, best-selling trucks in America. Now get low 3.9% factory financing or $1,000 cash back on Ford Aerostar. Save on the best-selling Ford Ranger, too, the best-selling Ford F-150, and America's favorite sport utility, Ford Explorer. Summertime's the best time to get a great deal on every Ford truck in stock, like $3.9 financing or $1,000 cash on Ford Aerostar, but only for a limited time. See your local Ford dealer today.
Dave's the funniest movie of the year. Time magazine calls it winning. Newsweek, fun.
Okay, let's get back to work.
Whoa! Rolling Stone, irresistible. USA Today, hilarious. Good Morning America, great. The New York Times, delightful. And Siskel and Ebert give Dave 2 thumbs up.
Do I need to dial 90?
Kevin Kline, Sigourney Weaver, Dave, an Ivan Reitman film rated PG-13. Now playing at a theater near you.
Up-and-coming business type, or you just want to check on the babysitter, Ameritech offers 2 ways to call from anywhere to anywhere at any time.
Wow.
The Ameritech calling card and complete MasterCard, the cards you can always call on. Ameritech, your link to a better life.
He stands acquitted, the suspended principal of a Catholic high school in Wheaton. Reverend J. Michael Foley was charged with battery and disorderly conduct a year ago this month. It was alleged that Father Foley fondled an 18-year-old girl, but his lawyers argued the girl misconstrued Foley's intentions, and the jury agreed. Foley is awaiting reassignment from the Archdiocese of Joliet.
Tonight, it turns out that what looked like an anti-gay poster campaign on the north side was an art project by 2 students at the University of Illinois, Chicago. Volunteers spent the day tearing down posters in the Lakeview neighborhood, but tonight, police and city officials say the posters are not considered a hate crime and that there's no evidence to suggest the students sought to intimidate the gay community.
This looks more like an art project that went awry and communicated exactly the opposite of what their intent was.
An art teacher from the university apparently recognized the posters and called police, and police say charges are not expected to be filed against the art students.
Tonight, the United States and Russia are reportedly drawing closer together on a common strategy for war-torn Bosnia. That's the word after a meeting between Secretary of State Warren Christopher and Soviet Foreign Minister Andrei Korzybiev. But earlier today, the shelling continued in Sarajevo, where 2 children were injured and 1 woman was killed. It was an intense barrage lasting exactly an hour.
Meanwhile, President Clinton is up to his ears in a haircut flap, and some reporters now are referring to his plane as Hair Force One. It began when Mr. Clinton kept his jet on the tarmac at Los Angeles Airport for an extra 45 minutes while he brought in a hairstylist to give him a $200 haircut. That haircut delayed 2 other inbound flights from landing at the airport, and it led to questions at the White House and in Congress.
Doesn't that smack of high-handedness?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, the president has to get his haircut. Everybody has to get their haircut.
Spent thousands of your tax dollars waiting to get a haircut for $200 from Hillary's hairdresser. He ought to be more concerned about trimming the deficit than his own hair.
The hair controversy comes amid another one involving travel. That's because the White House yesterday fired its entire travel staff and replaced them with an Arkansas travel agency and with one of Mr. Clinton's distant cousins. Today, one of the fired workers denied there was ever any wrongdoing in the travel office and charged the president was just trying to bring in his own people.
Jim Tilmon joins us now to take a look at the weather.
It's been an interesting day. We've had some nice weather. We've also had some wet weather. Some folks saw a little bit more rain than they wanted to see. Buckingham Fountain with the Chicago skyline in the background, a beautiful sight indeed. And these 2 words are pretty nice to look at, too. Sunny skies and warmer conditions for tomorrow. We've been wanting to say that for quite some time. Finally, we can say it. Now, I don't mean we're going to have a heat wave, but already there's a difference. Look at this, 53 degrees now, a good 6 or 8 degrees warmer than it was last night at this time. So things are looking up. The warmer air is on the way. And what we've been dealing with is kind of a spinning situation out of the Canadian area, bringing down clouds and occasionally a shower or 2. Not much to it, but some cool air, very cool air. Remember the record we tied this week, and then last night wasn't too very, very warm? Well, that's what's been happening to us, but all that's beginning to shift to the east just a little bit. That's going to relieve things for us quite nicely. We'll see a gradual warm-up. Now, that won't last forever, but it'll be a little bit warmer than it has been. And if you look at a picture of this situation from a national view, you get a perspective which is a little bit better because we have all this sunshine to deal with before we finally get these showers. That looks like Sunday. So the weekend won't be perfect, but Saturday looks like a winner because that's in that sunny part. Tomorrow we'll get up near 70 degrees. Isn't that nicer than saying 67? 70-degree temperatures will be common across most of the state of Illinois if you go far enough south or west. But it's going to be pretty nice here tomorrow, and then later on Saturday, it'll be even better. Some sunshine, but a cold morning to get today started. Near 40 degrees with light wind, sunrise at 5:26. Then as the day wears on, we'll see that sun continue, and warmer conditions in the afternoon. Upper 60s and northwest winds 10 to 15 with sunset at 8:11. For the next 5 days, then, we'll start off pretty nicely at least. 67 degrees tomorrow with some sunshine and a very pleasant Saturday. That's just a super day, it looks like to me. Sunday, well, okay, we'll have a shower or two on Sunday and Monday, and then Tuesday we get back down to around 62 degrees, but all in all, it's not so bad. Roberto Gonzalez will be with you at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning with First Thing in the Morning, give you some details on tomorrow. The tip that I have for tomorrow is one that's pretty obvious at this point. Warmer, a nice word to say. It just feels good.
Isn't it? Thanks,
Thank
Jim.
you, Jim.
Disappointment tonight for some Cheers fans on the South Side. Customers of Chicago Cable who live in Hyde Park or South Shore are probably going to have to catch the Cheers swan song on tape. Complaints came pouring in tonight about 9:30 that the cable system died. No word yet on why it happened or when it will be fixed. And for those of you who've tried to call to find out, we haven't had any more luck than you did.
Tonight, if you watched the last episode of Cheers, you became a statistic. Channel 5's Norman Mark explains why.
The most watched television show in history. Here's what Cheers is up against. The current number one has reigned since 1983. The final episode of MASH was seen in more than 50 million households. At number two, the Who Shot JR episode of Dallas, seen in more than 41 million households in 1980. In 1983, 38.5 million households tuned in to the day after a look at America after a nuclear blast. Just 3 months ago, Oprah Winfrey's interview with Michael Jackson was seen in 36.5 million households. And at number five, the final episode of the miniseries Roots, in 1977, more than 36 million households tuned in. In addition to a ratings bonanza, Cheers has become a money machine. A half-minute commercial, or 30 seconds, on tonight's Cheers, went for a reported $650,000, the most ever for an entertainment program. Second only to the $800,000 plus for the Super Bowl spots. Winners in syndication, that's $500 million, with $100 million of that going to the producers. Cheers may be the last of its kind, and this means the last call, at least in rerun, is going to be a long, long way off. I'm Norman Mark, Channel 5 News.
In Boston right now, the cast of Cheers is getting ready for the Jay Leno show. We'll go back live to Boston.
But in sports, the Cubbies facing big bats and bad breaks in St. Louis.
To get out of the way as it hit him right in the back of the head.
We've heard it all before.
You want me to rub this piece of paper on something to make it smoother?
There are always skeptics.
So I'm going to take this piece of cellophane with the sticky stuff on the back and use it to fix things.
So when we introduce products like our New Stroke Snap-Off paintbrushes, we've come to expect a little skepticism.
You mean to tell me these things paint as well as expensive brushes?
New Stroke Snap-Off paintbrushes from 3M. You'll get a good quality paint job. Trust us.
You read the word marsupial in the paper one day, and then you hear someone on the bus say it out loud. And there isn't a name for that when it happens, but it makes you think of the zoo, where you haven't been since you fell in love. So you go, even though it's raining and everyone has an umbrella, and it reminds you of being at the beach under an umbrella with the radio on. There's a song on the radio, and there's a name in the song, and it's yours. 93 XRT.
Everything.
Everything, in no particular order.
You can see it in their faces. It works. LaSalle lends money to more people for more reasons than anyone else. You can tell by the plans they're making. It works. LaSalle is a leader in business loans, keeping the city that works working. Put your bank to work for you. Call on LaSalle, the bank that works. You can tell by their sense of security. It works.
It was a fishing trip that began 35 years ago. Back then, he couldn't really imagine retiring. And yet he began building long-term with Kemper Mutual Funds. Investing with Kemper is an opportunity to have something worth passing down to the next generation.
Let's give him a chance to grow.
Okay, Grandpa.
We're building tomorrows today.
Kemper Mutual Funds. Ask your financial advisor or call this number.
In Health Watch tonight, a ruling on surrogate parenthood. The California Supreme Court says surrogate mother Anna Johnson has no parental rights to the child she helped bear. Johnson was paid $10,000 to carry a child conceived from another couple's sperm and egg. In the middle of this legal fight is 2-year-old Christopher Calvert, whose genetic parents are Mark and Crispina Calvert. They say they're overjoyed with the court's verdict.
Just what the Bulls need, more roster controversy.
Yeah, I tell you, it's kind of weird timing. You know, all these rumors about Tony Kukoc are starting to drive Bulls general manager Jerry Krause crazy. Now, take today. While the Bulls were getting ready for the Knicks out at the Berto Center, Italian newspapers were reporting that Kukoc and his agent were flying to Chicago Monday to start talking about a new contract. Krause says, no way.
It's just amazing because they come up with these stories, and, you know, it's some of the stories that have come out are actually laughable.
Meanwhile, Horace Grant was the only Bull to sit out practice again today. Horace still has an aversion to taking shots to ease the pain.
I'll probably take a couple aspirin, but, you know, it's a phobia I had ever since I was a kid about needles, you know. I hate the dentists, I hate doctors, and, you know, anybody with a needle. You have a needle? Okay.
Don't worry, I'm clean. How about this one? If the Bulls beat the Knicks to go to a third straight championship, Pat Riley still wins. Why? It seems when the Lakers were going for 3 in a row, it was Riley who coined the phrase three-peat, and he owns the trademark. We're talking about $2.5 million in royalties for Mr. GQ. What a country, huh? Playoffs tonight, the Spurs and the Suns. Dale Ellis hits the 3 with 15 seconds left. Then they got a free throw to tie it. It's up to Charles Barkley at the other end. 1.8 ticks left. And, of course, Sir Charles hits it. Phoenix up by 2. San Antonio then has one last chance. The inbounds, David Robinson gets it, but it's nothing but an air ball. Suns win 102-100 to take a 3-2 series lead. That also means the Bulls and Knicks game 2 in New York will be on Tuesday. As expected, the nomadic Larry Brown quit the LA Clippers today. If you're counting at home, that's 5 pro coaching jobs, 2 college. And the Cubs got clobbered down in St. Louis tonight. Almost literally. Third inning, Jose Guzman facing Geronimo Pena with bases loaded. A shot right past Mark Grace down the line into the corner. 1, 2, 3 Cardinals come in. A 3-run double. That hurt. This hurt worse. Later in the game, Chuck McElroy really gets a scare as the bat goes flying. He turns and gets hit right in the back. He was shaken up and had to leave with a bruised shoulder. The Cubs lose 6-3. Philadelphia keeps on winning. They down Montreal, San Francisco over Cincinnati. San Diego beat Colorado in 11. In the American, it's Detroit over Milwaukee. Seattle beat Texas. Kansas City leads Oakland. Toronto over Boston. And Cleveland down Baltimore. The Stanley Cup playoffs continuing tonight. Montreal and the Islanders. Canadians' Guy Carbonneau gets the game winner in overtime here. Montreal wins 2-1, up 3-0 in the series. They also tied an NHL record with 11 straight playoff wins. And tonight, a very special edition of Sports Shorts.
Butthead, chalk-faced bitch.
The morning sunrise. Mr. Coffee's dead. Be glad there's one place in
Your ass.
Wouldn't you like to get away?
Let's just get a grip. It was just a TV show, okay?
Just a TV show. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Even so, The Tonight Show is on the road over that TV show. Jay Leno will be talking about that. But first, tonight's winning lottery numbers.
You can get the winning Illinois and Indiana State Lottery numbers here every night on the Channel 5 News at 10. You just watch.
In the year 2010, your child's college tuition could average $36,000 a year. Are your current investments earning enough to pay for that? Couldn't you be doing better? Consider the many long-term investments available at Citibank branches. Call an investment consultant from Citicorp Investment Services. Ask them about over 30 recommended investments you can make for your child's education. And ask yourself, couldn't you be doing better at Citibank?
Chevy Geo slideshow. 4 cars under $10,000. Cavalier. Let's roll it.
Jim, why is the Cavalier such a safe car?
Oh, wait. I know. It's the lowest price with anti-lock brakes.
Right.
Standard.
Safe. Very safe.
This is not safe.
Safe.
Not safe.
Okay.
Does it just come in red?
Nope, it comes in lots of colors.
Q logo. Chevy Geo dealer. Out of time.
Hi, it's Denise. Are we still on for the 7th? Good. See you then. Bill.
Illinois Bell reminds you that making more calls to say see you at the meeting or thanks a lot build better business relationships. At least that's what you'll hear from those on the way up.
Welcome to the executive floor, Miss Sidlow.
Denise, forgot your purse.
At Electric Avenue, all these numbers add up to one. One keyboard, one mouse, one monitor, one modem, 8 preloaded software packages. Set up in 15 minutes or less. With 486 power and performance, it's IBM Power made easy. New this week at Electric Avenue, Montgomery Ward, for just $1399.99. Now all the numbers add up to one. IBM PS1 at Electric Avenue, Montgomery Ward.
Immediately following this newscast, the Tonight Show with Jay Leno originates live from Boston's Bull Finch pub.
Hype is our middle name.
Absolutely, but even hype needs some rehearsal time. Leno will have most of the Cheers cast on the show. Boston is Leno's hometown, so he went through his routine to make sure his timing would be all that it was supposed to be.
Finally tonight, you saw reporter Phil Walters live from Boston earlier in this broadcast. It is raining in Boston, and Phil is surrounded by wires, including, the one like this that we all wear in our ear. Well, watch what happened as I introduced Phil live at 6 this evening. Phil?
And I was not inside getting, Oh, we are dealing in the rain.
Oh, don't worry. Phil is fine. He wasn't hurt. And we're very sorry that the big Cheers show meant that Phil got it in the ear. We were actually hoping that would happen to our competition tonight. That's the news this Thursday.
Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Channel 5 is proud to salute Warner Saunders for his 25 years of broadcasting and service. Warner Saunders, just one reason why Channel 5 News is Chicago's best news.